President Trump is fighting 24/7 for America. The goal is simple: a return to an era of peace, prosperity, and common sense.
In this video, John Iadarola and Francesca Fiorentini take a look at a clip of Laura Ingraham, basically spouting propaganda. I have taken the liberty, this is a short clip, so I've taken the liberty of intercutting an expert talking about certain elements of fascism, specifically propaganda and the war on truth, the creation of unreality, to kind of underscore. This is just one example of what's been going on for decades now in this country, but is really bald-faced and coming to a head now. Anyway, I'll have opinions as we go, and then I want to know what you think in the comments. But without further ado,
financially, we'll be stronger than ever before. I think the markets are going to soar when they see what's happening. And I want to tell you, there's tremendous optimism out there about our country in terms of regulations being cut, in terms of taxes being cut. It would be great if the Democrats would do what's right for our country for a change.
In political propaganda, your main message is something other than the information you're conveying. Fascist propaganda is a very particular structure. It's based around a friend-enemy distinction. The political opponent, they are a merciless threat to your very existence and your traditions. They are the other. When they are in charge, it subverts the nation. So the structure of fascist propaganda is based on the idea that the other are fundamentally opposed to the nation.
Isn't it great to have an optimistic president who has a real plan to make life better for Wall Street and Main Street? Just ignore the sky is falling reports in the regime press. Tune out the breathless reporting about market gyration. What we're living through now is a transition, and this one's good for us.
The center of democracy is truth. You're not free if you've been lied to. Nobody thinks the people of North Korea are free. The people of North Korea will vote for dear leader every time because they've been lied to. It's not a free vote because they don't have access to the truth. Equality similarly requires truth, because equality in democracy doesn't mean we all have the same amount of money. It doesn't mean we all have the same car. It means political equality, that each of our voices matters the same. And political equality means speaking truth to power. If someone really powerful is humiliated when they're caught lying, that's the core of political equality. So if you're gonna rip the heart out of democracy, you get people used to lies.
okay, we're going to switch back over to John and Fran.
I mean, that's like, again, North Korean media, please take some notes, because that is definitely something. He's working nonstop. Dude, he has golfed 13 days of his presidency. I haven't exercised 13 days in the last 5 years, okay? What do you mean he's never stopped? And so that's obviously ridiculous. Ignore the breathless reporting of the regime news. First of all, you guys are in charge of everything. Like, do you get that? You are the status quo. You don't get to control literally every branch of government and then pretend that you're the plucky rebels fighting the empire. No, you guys are in control. And it's the Wall Street Journal that's freaking out. It's the Washington Post op-ed page. It's the weirdo with the business show.
Rupert Murdoch.
He tells you to sell or not. It's Rupert Murdoch. It's Larry Summers. It's not like you lost Jacobin or whatever. It's all of your people are freaking out. Fox Business
but John,
is freaking out.
Isn't it nice
Wait,
to have
Francesca,
an optimistic president?
Oh yeah, definitely optimistic. We're getting screwed over. It's going to be blood and
it's going to
fire.
be difficult.
100%. You seem like the sort of person who's going to freak out over market gyrations. That's all it is, a gyration, not week after week after week of the market falling because all of this is bad for business.
Well, but and let's be real, like the people who can access, like ordinary people who can access like the stock market. Remember, only 10%, I believe 10% of Americans are invested in the stock market. That's like beyond, I believe, their like 401ks and retirements. But even those, right? The people who are invested, who are like average people, they can't afford to lose like $100,000. They can't afford to lose even 40 or 50. Like if you're lucky enough to be able to like put that in, you can't afford to lose. That's all your money. That's your savings. That's your retirement. You're hoping that can grow. What if you're trying to retire now or in the next year or two? And if you actually cash out on your 401k or on whatnot, you're going to have so much less than you would. So again, it is so punitive against not even just working class people, but like people trying to get a little bit more of a leg up, the middle class, the upper middle class, maybe just the middle class. It is coming down on everybody, except for, of course, the ultra rich.
Yeah, they'll be fine. I mean, they don't want to lose 20% of their wealth, but they also have billions to fall back on after that. And someone pointed out in the chat something to the effect of like when Laura Ingraham was like, all this, don't forget about it. It's just a transition. First of all, don't use terms like that. Pete Hegseth is going to lose his mind. And your show might be pulled for national security concerns. But yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, people who need that money, like that are about to retire or are in retirement right now, they don't have 5-10 years for it to bounce back, which it probably will at some point. That's not an option for them. They need to eat every day. They need to eat.
Selfish.
And so Laura Ingraham, again, we were critical of Joe Biden. We'll move on in a second. We were critical of Joe Biden for not doing enough to reassure people and to show that he understands their pain. This is miles away from even that. This is her telling them, like this Charlie Kirk earlier this week, shut up about the egg prices. I don't want to hear it. Shut up about it. And Laura Ingraham be like, ignore the fact that your 401k is worth 19% less than it was a week and a half ago. Yeah. Like that's not just not showing compassion. That's spitting in people's face as you're devastating their finances.
Absolutely delightful. Yes. I'm going to end on the intro of this other video. That is the channel Big Think. It's called 10 Tactics of Fascism. Jason Stanley. If you want to watch that whole thing, it's fascinating. But I'm going to end on the intro because I think that kind of wraps it all up. And then I'm going to ask you what you think of the comments.
Fascism is a cult of the leader who promises national restoration in the face of supposed humiliation by immigrants, leftists, liberals, minorities, homosexuals, women, in the face of what the fascist leader says is a takeover of the country's media, cultural institutions, schools by these forces. And that's why you need a really macho, powerful, violent response. The fascist leader says he will solve the problem. Fascism is right-wing by nature. It's based on ultranationalism. However, you can have ultranationalist movements that are ultranationalist movements of minority groups. There is left-wing authoritarianism. There are bad things on the left. Stalin killed many, many people. Mao killed many, many people. These are terrible figures, but not all terrible things are fascist. Fascism is a very particular ideological structure. When thinking about fascism, you can't think about these individual elements in isolation. They come as a bundle.
Again, I think that video is well worth a watch from start to finish, but is any of this sounding at all familiar? Let me know what you think in the comments.